caution and the cutthroat Amazon and put it here.
Right.
But my theory is that it actually doesn't live here.
Right.
That if you have nothing to prove and nothing to lose, that you're not going to be an ass.
Right.
Because you get nothing out of that.
Right.
People who are asses usually have something to prove and something to lose.
Right.
But if all you were was love and joy, happy, freedom, presence, what? Compassion.
Generous. Creativity.
Yes.
Comfort. You would be serene.
Energy.
Say it again.
Energy.
Energy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Confident.
Confident, right?
Be magnetic. Kick ass.
Kick ass. And like, I was having a wonderful conversation the other day that innovation is, it cannot thrive in a place where you're going to get the crap kicked out of you, right? And who read that Amazon article? Wow. And so my thought when I read that Amazon article is wow, that's both a miracle that they have done so well with such a harsh reality. And then like a nanosecond later, I was devastated.
Yeah.
Because I was like, think about the amazing ideas that never came to the table because you knew that you were going to get the crap kicked out of you, and then you're going to get an anonymous review. Allie said the weirdest thing. She's not thinking like we're thinking. Or she's thinking, wait, she's not even outside the box, she's in someone else's box. Or whatever, right?
Right.
So, innovation.
Inner peace.
Inner peace. Maybe even external peace as well, right? Inner and outer peace. What else?
You'd have courage.
Yeah, I love that.
My favorite word is sabai. It's a Thai word that means comfortable, happy, and relaxed all in the same word.
And what, say it again?
Sabai, S-A-B-A-I. Sabai.
Oh my God, just saying it feels that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Authenticity.
Yeah. Sleep. Who's that? And like, choice.
Fearless.
Fearless.
Healthy.
Feel caring.
Yeah.
Steering.
Yeah.
Synergy.
Magical.
Success.
Right. Let's pause on that one. So, again, and this book is phenomenal. If you haven't read this book, it will change. Start with why. Start with why. Amazing book. Please read it. It is counter to the way we've done business. We as a species have done business for ever and ever and ever and ever. And again, to go back to my original opening comments, is that I am relating to you, and I think I was right because we had a lot of really good stuff. I'm relating to you as already here. You already get your why. So today, what I'm trying to open up for you is a new place, a place beyond why. Because I'm never going to be able to take away from, I will never lose the motivation that my mother gives me. Good, bad, or ugly. I'm never going to get rid of it. That thought's always going to be in my brain. Always. While she's here, when she's dead, when I'm almost dead, maybe even when I'm dead. It'll always be there. I might even pass it on to my kids. And these things are always going to be there for you. I'm not trying to get rid of your why. Keep your why. Nurture and love and cherish your why. But if you cling to your why, and if you have significance and attachment to your why, my assertion is that you will have something to prove. Because this is a lot. to make a difference, max potential, having direction, find and live passions, ego, making some money. So I'd like to turn to you. What are you hearing for yourself? And I have some pointed questions, but just to open it up for everybody, what are you hearing for yourself in this conversation?
I'm wondering if I'm pushing too hard with my why. If it's pushing me too hard and I'm not even aware of it. And you said that kind of, but it really made me think, maybe I really am. I want it so badly.
What's the
Whatever
thing you
it
want?
is.
Do you know what it is? Can you put your finger on it?
Oh, I suppose it all. I want it all. You know, but maybe
Yeah.
that's what it is that's driving me, that maybe I need to stop and get some perspective or think about it.
Yeah. And what I want to remind you, and I say this reminder to myself, is that these things are mirages. And even if they're not mirages, and they can actually be real things, like, you know, making a certain amount of money. The minute you get there and you make a certain amount of money, what's next? More money, right? And even if my mom says, Allie, I am so proud of you, or Allie, I am so inspired by you, how quickly does that dissipate? I don't think I'd make it to the car. And by the time I'm home, I'm already having thoughts again about how I can make her more proud, right? It's an endless well that we're trying to fill. And there's nothing wrong with this. This is more profound than 99% of other people. This is profound that you have these beliefs. But what if you could have those beliefs, but not be attached to them? So, thank you for sharing. And I'm wondering if anyone else would like to share, if they can see anywhere in their lives, maybe their relationships, if you're feeling so bold to share, maybe in your work or your leadership, that you, or maybe someone that you've witnessed, is living and leading like they have something to prove and they have everything to lose. Will anyone share an example?
I will.
Thank you.
I'm an artist, which means I do it all to myself. I put all that pressure on myself.
Right.
I mean, I guess everyone does, but I don't have a boss or anything. But I had a small period of
You stand up, Jennifer.
Oh, boy.
Having trouble hearing.
Hello. I had a small period of quote-unquote success a few years ago, and then, like, I'm obviously using the language of the much to prove. And then I had the bottom dropped out, and then I'm a dancer, and I'm sitting here going, oh, what do I dance about now? No one's hiring me, and blah, blah, blah. But I keep wanting to get to this kind of zen place in life where I don't, because success is not a word I can use, because that is
That's over there for you.
that's my demon, yeah, because
Right.
it's like, what is success? And it's like, oh, everyone loves my work, and I'm hired to teach all these classes, and I do this, you know, and I'm at the Walker every other day, and then I'm flying all over the United States because people love my work and all that stuff. So that's success. And then it's like, no, I can't live like that because I need to be healthy and I need to be cool. But then how do I do that without being like, I'm being healthy now, these are my mind, breathing, I'm happy, not being successful, very zen now.
What a snooze!
And I'm like,
Yeah.
so that's my problem, is how to go that way without being stuck in the happy hole and like not going anywhere. Being
Yeah.
like, I'm happy, I'm just trying to be happy.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
So I have a thought. Are you open to it? Can I be real with you?
Sure. I mean, I'm stuck in the happy hole.
Well, so a lot of this is about shoulds. Are you guys seeing all the shoulds here? So my assertion for you is, it sounds like somewhere, somehow, you came up with the radical, actually, quite frankly, notion that you should be happy, and happy should look a certain way. This is happy, do this. This is not happy, don't do this. And so what I am encouraging you to do is to actually get even more elevation off of that. Because again, everyone in this room is more evolved than everyone outside of this room. And you have evolved past where most people get stuck, which is go, 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 go. You actually broke that and got to the next place of, I have to take care of myself and be happy. But then we brought the same context that you were using in your dancing, the drive to, I have to be successful, you brought that to, I have to be happy, I have to be zen. And it has to do, this is what happiness looks like, and I have to do this. And so if we come up even higher off of that, what I believe might be possible is to actually surrender and pick and choose then. Hey, actually sitting at home not doing anything doesn't make me happy. Or, hey, actually dancing 5 days a week actually does make me happy. And that might be someone else's version, or maybe 7 days a week, right? Dancing 7 days a week might make you happy. I'm making this up. And to somebody else, it might be like, girl, you work too much, that's too hard, and they have all kinds of boxes they want to put you in. But what if you just said what was happy? And better yet, what was fully self-expressed? Because it might be that, as you were pointing to before, a little bit of both. A little bit of hard work because you believe in it, because you love it, because it feeds you. It's your passion and your gift. And a lot of happy, because you deserve that as a human being here on this earth. So consider that if you really had nothing to prove, you didn't have to prove that you were happy. You couldn't lose your happiness. You couldn't lose your success. You had to prove your success. And you like stood in that emptiness for a while and said, this is actually my blank slate. I can create from this slate. What would you create? What would be that perfect place then for you?
Are you asking that question?
Yeah.
Or is it rhetorical? Because there are a lot of rhetorical questions.
You can give a rhetorical answer.
That sounds like an art project. Well, working, I do dance. I dance. I reduced it, but maybe I need to up it again. I dance 3 to 4 days a week. 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And I do obscure things like dance with dogs because if no one can, because they're cheap, I don't have to pay a dog to dance with me. So that's one of the things. And I'm a conceptual artist.
Sure.
But I do like getting recognition, and it's really hard to get recognition when you're dancing with dogs. I mean,
well, what if you could get the recognition? Because recognition as itself is not a damaging thing. Like in a vacuum, being recognized is not a damaging thing. Recognition becomes ugly when it has everything to prove and everything to lose, right? It's either I get recognized or I'm a piece of you know what, right? So what if recognition could come from nothing to prove and nothing to lose? And you no longer were seeking your next big thing, your big show, your leadership, your cultural relevance, not from a place of I need recognition or I need the money or I need whatever it is, but you actually are coming from a place of this is the thing that makes me happy. And recognition might make you happy. That's okay.
yeah, it does make me happy.
It makes me happy
You want
too.
people to say that was a great project.
Yeah.
I mean, besides, oh, you're the one that danced with dogs. That's a different kind of recognition. But
I want to see. I'm gonna butt in for 2 seconds. I want to see a video of you dancing with the dogs because I think it would make a ton of people happy on
I
social.
have lots of crappy videos.
Oh, you have
I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
But
But
so
I mean, I didn't take the, that's another thing. I stopped taking good video because I was like, I just need to get documentation instead of like trying to get anything anyone can actually see.
so here's my challenge for you.
Okay.
Is my challenge for you, and this is actually the challenge for everybody. So this is kind of going to jump ahead, and we can go back to talking about like what do we see and how does this resonate for your life. The challenge for you and for me and for all of us is, where in our lives are we currently living from everything to prove and everything to lose? Or even just something to prove and something to lose? So this is your homework, so write it down. Where in my life am I doing this? Something or everything to prove and to lose. Where in my life am I doing that? Am I dating like that? Am I leading teams like that? Am I working out like that? Am I treating my health and my well-being like that? It's all or nothing, it's now or never, it's do or die. And I'm stressed out about it. Does anyone else here get stressed about working out? I get so stressed about working out. It's like, you have to do more working out. It's like so significant. It's like, dude, you're just moving your body. Like, this is not that deep. Okay, so where in your life are you stressing yourself out? Making things significant that don't need to be. And by extension, slowing yourself down, slowing down your innovation, slowing down your creative process, slowing down your ability to love yourself exactly where you are. Then, take a look at what life would be like if you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose. I'm going to give you 3 places specifically to look. 4. Number 1, what would your relationships look like if you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose? How much more honest would you be? So go ahead and write that down. I'll give you kind of some things to think about. How much more honest would you be? How much more connected to your needs would you be? How much more communicative would you be if you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose? Second place, and we touched on this a little bit, is that health, fitness, well-being. What would that look like if you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose? How would it change your relationship to exercise, to eating, to presence in your body? If you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose. There was no number, there were no scales, there were no goals, there were no calories. If you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose, perhaps how much would you lose? Number 3 is in your work and your leadership. How would your work and your leadership look? What would it look like? Maybe even what would it feel like if you were leading your teams from a place where you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose? Where you weren't fighting for the next promotion, where you weren't scared that you were going to be the next one to get laid off. If you weren't protecting their feelings and also trusting their greatness, how would your leadership and your career change if you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose? And the last one that I'll leave you with today is your self-worth. Your most important relationship of all. How would your relationship to yourself change if you had nothing to prove and nothing to lose? If you were head over heels in love with yourself exactly the way you are, and you didn't need to prove anything to yourself, let alone anybody else, but we all know we're our harshest critic. If we didn't need to be those many pounds thinner, that much more successful, make that much more money, have this partner. And then the grand poobah question after all of that, if you were able to do those things, what will be possible from there? And how would that impact your why from there? If you could totally love your partner and be honest and authentic, if you could give yourself a break for not getting to the gym on Wednesday, if you could lead with grace and courage and trust, if you could love yourself as you were, how would that make a difference for the thing that you're actually committed to? This is what you're really committed to. You're committed to amazing things. But if you come to those with those white knuckles, attached and ferocious, it doesn't give you the space to have the innovation and the creativity it takes to actually accomplish some of the most impossible, incredible things in this world. And that's what it takes. That open flow of nothing to lose and nothing to prove. Yes?
You know, this is good, but already I'm seeing things in it'd be nice if we follow this up with some things, because I'm just seeing like, oh, okay, well, I've kind of used this excuse to stay where I am in a certain, like say, a certain job or a certain whatever. But if I really had nothing to prove and nothing to lose, I would have to leave that position. I mean, there could be some big, major life changes that would come out of this.
Yeah.
And I guess it would be just like, maybe follow-up might be kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because this could be, you know,
Huge.
if we really took this to heart
Huge.
and really went through this,
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's I think you're reading my brain. This is why I brought the fishbowl. Put your card in here, and I will follow up with you. And I would be happy to give anyone who wants one a completely complimentary hour-long follow-up conversation about this, because you're right. Because you might have to leave the relationship you're in. And I'm not going to look at anyone in particular right now, because I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, she's looking at me. But you might have to break up with him or her.
Can I say something real quick? You know, I had a life where I almost died. Like I was like on death's door. Like seriously almost died. And when I was better, everything changed. Right? There was this thing where it was like that idea that I can't live the life I was living. There's no way I can do that, because that's what almost killed me.
Yeah.
This inability to see what was really happening to my own self. And left a relationship and did some, but it's like the sustainability of that, like trying to sort of gather that energy, you know, the energy of that and ride that wave, which is a beautiful, beautiful place actually. And the sustainability of it. And that's why I keep going when you were saying nothing to lose. This thing is like, what's actually doable are those middle, that are also really beautiful, those middle places that you can bring this part and that part together.
Yeah.
Right, what you're saying.
Totally.
And I know that we need to be extreme, but I think maybe that's why it hit something in me, because I've been at this place where I completely felt that way.
It might be, and I think that sometimes this language is extreme.
Yeah.
And it's extreme on purpose.
And it needs to be. I mean, I feel like things I wouldn't have changed ever.
Right.
Because it needed to be.
So, and perhaps one of these things is like if you were making choices in your life from freedom, or from joy, or compassion, or creativity, or authenticity, or choice, or energy, or play, or trust.
And that life is beautiful.
Your life, yeah, life is gorgeous. It's incredible.
Right.
It's miraculous.
Right.
And so you're right. You break up with people, right?
Yeah.
I came out that I'm engaged to marry a beautiful, fabulous woman, and I had lived my whole damn life like I had something to prove and a whole lot to lose. And as it turns out, once I could let go of that and actually love the human being that I wanted to live, my business went great, my relation with my family went great, my relation with myself went great, my leadership was off the charts, because I finally let go that I was like, be this thing. So you might have to leave your job. You might have to go start that business. Shucks. You might have to leave him or her who's holding you back, and you might have to go find a him or her who lights you up. And that's going to be the scariest thing you've ever done. But not doing it might actually be scarier. And if you live for a moment from here, you might actually see that you have nothing to prove and nothing to lose. What do you hear now? Would anyone like to share just to wrap up? I know we've got not much time, yeah?
I think you're taking your place to a place of thriving,
Fabulous, thank you.
not just surviving. Where do you thrive?
I love that. Yeah? Yes?
This conversation's reminded me of, I'm not Catholic, but I'm totally in love with Lent. I think it's so interesting to take a section of time and give something up. So I like to give up non-tangible things, and one year I gave up fear. It just was a random thing that I gave up. I had no idea how much it would impact my life, every corner, everywhere. But the thing that was interesting is people sat me down, my parents, my friends, they were like, you can't do this, you can't do this, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Strange men and get in their cars, you're not, you can't. And it was so weird. I didn't realize all this aggression came from all over the place. And it made me realize that we live with this belief that our fear keeps us safe.
Yeah.
And that by being afraid, we maintain control, and it's really culturally supported, and it's everything.
Totally.
And so
Yeah.
I can feel it in the conversation, like what if we really give up fear, then what really will happen to us? And I think that's something to face about our culture, that we think fear
Totally.
keeps us safe, and it doesn't. It does the opposite.
Yeah,
Yep.
we live in a culture of fear. Don't lose your job. Don't leave that man or woman. Don't go and start that business. Don't you know how risky that is?
Sometimes it's family too.
Right?
It has been for me.
People are going to tell you all kinds of things, and to be frank, you can also just give them my card, and I'd be happy. I'm kidding, and also not because, but because honestly, or maybe we can just have a conversation. Because the truth is that that's just their fear, and they're fine. We don't actually have to fix their fear. They can be scared to death. My mother's horrified. She's the most scared person I've ever met in my whole life. It makes me ill thinking about how scared she is in everyday life. But I have to say, she's fine. Ain't nothing broken over there. She gonna be okay. She doing her thing.
I think it's interesting when fear, like we're talking about here, just of living, runs into fear of a current situation. I quit my job last November with $500 in my checking account because I was being completely harassed at work, and there was nothing that I could do. So it was literally like a day decision from one day to the next, and it was like, guess I'm starting a business because this is what's happening. And I haven't been open about that, on social or anything, that's the reason why. But it's like you just come to this intersection of fear of like, what do I fear more? Do I fear this feeling when I'm at work of like being in danger and terrified and horrible? Or do I fear being happy, because that's what I'd wanted forever.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that to kind of bring this all together and wrap up really quickly, is that the conversation was that I was given to talk about was ambition. And we took the long way. We took the scenic route. But what we're talking about here is ambition, and why you choose to thrive, and why you choose to go for that next job, or that great love, or that business, or whatever it is, that thing that you want, that's burning inside of you. What if you chose that from a place not of fear, not of should, not of have to, but because you thought it sounded kind of great, and because what's the worst that could happen? Because I guarantee each one of you are far more resilient than you give yourself credit for, and way stronger than anyone's ever told you you are. And there's nothing that you can't do except for the things that you don't do. And that's it. So I'd love to continue this conversation. I've got cards, and please leave me yours. I really appreciate all of you for being here and being in this kind of weird conversation with me.